Do you think that organizations that want to make the most of AI in their customer-facing products will be hindered, will be less successful unless they can embed that mindset culturally in order to really succeed, right? And really turn the dial on using AI as part of a solution or an AI solution. You need that AI first, AI native mindset throughout the organization to really kind of make the most of it.
Yes. like like Toyash, I guess Toyash finished his last presentation at Productize saying that like it's not AI going to take our jobs, but it's some experts in my field who uses AI for
Yeah.
doing the job. So I guess it's a no-brainer. Absolute yes.
Welcome to the Product Agility Podcast, the missing link between agile and product. The purpose of this podcast is to share practical tips, strategies, and stories from world-class thought leaders and practitioners. Why, I hear you ask? Well, I want to increase your knowledge and your motivation to experiment so that together we can create ever more successful products. My name is Ben Maynard, and I'm your host. What has driven me for the last decade to bridge the gap between agility and product is a deep-rooted belief that people and products evolving together can achieve mutual excellence.
Hello, everyone. It's been quite some time since we've done a new episode. I've been busy doing some really interesting work with one particular client, but more on that another time. That was my way of a short apology for not releasing an episode for quite some time. But it's lovely to see we've attracted so many new listeners during our hiatus. Interestingly, are a testament to the quality of guests that we've had on over the last 3.5 years. It shows actually our statistics have just kept going up. So hello new listeners, hello old listeners, it's brilliant to be back. And today we're kind of starting with a bit of a bang because we have two awesome human beings, one of which I am very familiar with, Barbara or Barbie, as I am going to be trying to call her, and another Barbara, who are from Bobcats, Bobcats Coding. And Bobcats are a company which I came across last year at the Productize conference in Lisbon. And I honestly at the time was blown away by their energy, had a brilliant recording with a guy called Tamash about how he tried to recreate Twitter using low code and AI. There's a good episode on that. If you did want to have a search for that in our library, you will find that from last year, one of the talks in 10. And since then, we stayed in touch because I honestly think now with reflection that it was only a year ago that I was talking to Bobcats thinking that AI seemed like a great novelty thing. And there's some really interesting things you could do with it, but it hadn't really caught fire like it has now. So now we find ourselves really on the eve of this like new dawn when it comes to technology. Not only for what technology can do, but also for how us as product people, leaders, managers, whatever role we might hold in technology organizations, like our mindset and our approach to things need to change. So I'm super excited, first of all, to welcome both Barbaras, founders of Bobcats Coding, onto the podcast, but also really happy that Bobcats and the Product Agility podcast are partnering at Lisbon, productized again this year. I think there's still some tickets available. So if you did want to come and meet us in the flesh, we'll give you some more information on productized later. Anyway, enough of my voice. Barbara and Barbie, welcome to the podcast.
Hello, everyone. Nice to be here.
Hi, I'm really happy to be here.
Yeah, and we're really happy to have you. Like this is such a lovely way to start. And it's not very often I have two guests at the same time. So it's really going to test my podcasting hosting skills today. And hopefully they're not too rusty. I'll wait for everyone's feedback on whether or not they are or not. So as is the standard way of doing this, I always love our guests to give a little bit of an introduction to themselves, just so that the listeners can get to know you a little bit more. So who would like to go first? Barbie, perhaps would you like to start?
So hello, everyone. I'm Barbara, or as Hungarians call me, Barbie. And yeah, that's real here. So I'm at the moment CEO and co-founder of Bobcats Coding. But about me, very briefly, I used to be a professional athlete. That's where I started my career. I was a Taekwondo competitor.
You never told me that.
Yeah, because it's not something we chat about at Productize.
Oh my God, I feel like we can start this episode again now, Barbie. That's important information because my son is a red belt Taekwondo, you see.
Really? ITF or WTF?
Yeah. ITF.
ITF, yeah, I was in ITF as well. So
there you go, see.
we'll talk about
later. We'll park that for later. Sorry, carry on, Bobby.
Okay, so but in the meantime, I graduated as an economist with the Faculty of Marketing, and that's what my career was about. So most of the time, I did something marketing, sales related for tech companies or tech related companies. And where we met with other Barbara is Green Fox Academy. That was a coding bootcamp, one of the biggest ones in Central Eastern Europe. Where first I was the CEO, then she was the CEO, and we had a great time together. And when that that phase of our life was over, we did this other company together.
Amazing. Well, we'll kind of dig into that a little bit more, but thank you very much for sharing that. Yeah, and the Taekwondo thing, I'm genuinely impressed with. We can save that for Lisbon. Anyway, Barbara, let's hear a little bit about you.
And I'm the other Barbara, as I usually introduce myself. You can call me Barba. And I was working as a finance specialist at the beginning of my career before I moved to the IT industry. As Barbie already mentioned, we've been working together at Green Fox Academy. That's the place where I fall in love with the whole IT industry and working together with great engineers, software developers, and mentors. And right now at Bobcats Coding, I'm the Chief Delivery Officer, which sounds really serious, but in practice, I'm kind of keep my fingers on the pulse of every ongoing active project at Bobcats Coding, and try to communicate a lot with the engineers and our clients as well.
Fantastic. Yeah, Dave, when you say like when deliveries in the title, if you get at least in my mind, this is because of my previous experiences, it means you're like a badass. You know, you've had a kick ass, tell people what to do, tell people to go faster, that kind of thing. But I'm sure it's a bit more nuanced than that.
She's saying that kindly.
But kindly.
That's the secret.
Yeah. Somebody once said to me, Ben, you've got the most amazing ability to give people the most harshest feedback. But because you smile when you do it, people seem to accept it. And I'm like, oh, it's amazing. Yeah, smiling and giving bad news it's like a superpower. So I'm intrigued, right? Both of you seem to have had, I suppose, not a traditional pathway to get to where you are right now. So coming from finance and marketing, like it's not traditional paths. And you find yourself now with this really successful product studio, Bobcats Coding for its full title, and heavily on AI. Like how on earth did you get from where you were and then meeting at a coding boot camp to now kind of being at the the forefront of of AI, really? How on earth did that happen?
Yeah. Actually, that was super straightforward, I guess, because we did not mention about the coding bootcamp thing, that it was a coding bootcamp with a headhunting agency combined.
Right.
Because
Okay.
in Eastern Europe, you cannot run a coding bootcamp standalone because the tuitions are almost as high as in Western Europe. So we had
Wow.
to combine it with companies' need for talent. So now we own a huge network. And maybe here I give the word to Barba, how we get from the huge network to the company.
Yes, because at Green Fox Academy, we were working together with thousands of career changers from Hungary, Slovakia, and the Czech Republic. When we decided to start this digital product studio, it was clear that there won't be any problem with hiring great developers because we were working closely together with a big bunch of great talent.
And the AI thing was like, that was just our destiny, so to say, because we started the company like 2 months before the AI thing hit the fan, so to say. And we were, just testing out what should be our niche or where should we put our focus. And like we tried to run like tiny marketing tactics from a few like €100. And we were testing, I can't remember, 8 or 10 different technologies that were trending that time. And nobody was interested in anything else, just AI. So
Really?
not choose AI choose us. So, and
Yes, before
you go ahead.
Yeah, before we funded the company, we made a lot of market research and interviewed a few successful agency founders. And it was clear that we have to find a niche for our studio to become successful on the market. And that's why we were following all the trends. And when AI, generative AI, become a thing, we immediately know that that's our thing that we have. That's the trend that we have to follow.
Yeah. And like, to share some entrepreneurship background stories, for the first few months, it was like in case of any product development, it was a sales tagline. We were testing like, okay, but generative AI is here, but 2 years ago it was not clear that how, so what the clients will want under this umbrella. So we were testing bunch of like sales headlines and different approaches, and it took like 1.5 years to really understand where we can add value under this umbrella.
I find it really quite brilliant in a way. And I think also what you've shared then does invalidate my previous question. Because my question saying, how do you come from the backgrounds that you came from and ended up where you are? Well, now that you've explained it, it seems quite obvious. Because I mean, what you've done is you've done what you were good at, you know, and you've ended up with something which is validated. I think it's a great testament to the power of that validation and experimentation and trying different things, right, and engaging with your potential customer base. And I don't think many companies fail because they don't do that. Have you found that you've chosen your niche? You chose your niche, which was AI, through that kind of experimentation and that kind of testing hypotheses, etc. But now that, is it fair to say that that AI niche now is actually, it wasn't maybe a small niche, and now it's becoming actually quite a really large niche?
Yeah. Within that, new niches are generated in the meantime.
Yeah.
And I don't know who is the best to explain the context engineering thing that that we are doing now. Barbara, would you like to, or should I? Or we just call Ryan?
Yeah. I say,
You can
everyone listening, Ryan's the new CTO.
Yes.
you can start, and I can add my thoughts if necessary, but I don't think so.
All right. So in most of the cases, so what we do, because like it's often asked from us, okay, but is AI coming for the software developers? And my answer is that maybe AI is coming for the coders, but it's not coming for the software engineers. Because in most of the projects that we are working on these days, is that our job is to do context engineering, meaning that we have to understand the business goal and we have to apply AI in a way that, okay, I give you an example. So you cannot do that. You give like 1,000 pages of text to the AI and write a prompt and ask the question. You have to figure out how to slice up the information and how to organize it, which models to use for which step within the model, and how to get the result that's the most optimal for the business result for the less expensive price, or if you have to optimize for time under the shortest period of time, and so on and so forth. And this became a new engineering challenge that was, I cannot say it was not existing a few years ago, because AI is not a new thing, but it now, like, even small startup has to buy engineers who has this skill.
I mean, this is the thing that I have been reflecting on, and I won't talk about my role, my new role. I'll save that little.
I'm so curious. Can you talk about your new role? Is it fair to ask questions from the interviewer?
I can't talk about my new role at the moment. I
Okay.
can't. But I will do an episode where I talk about my journey of being a founder and then kind of deciding not to carry on that for a while because of an amazing opportunity. But needless to say, it's something AI related, and I found that on deep reflection, the term AI is almost, I almost try not to use it anymore because it's too broad. And when I think of like an organization that you're working with, and you talk about AI to lots of different functions, it means different things to different people. If I talk to a marketing department, they're just thinking of SaaS apps, right? They log into Canva or Gamma or something, and they use AI. But also, they're still just SaaS apps. These apps probably, a lot of these existed before AI was a thing. They're just utilizing AI as part of it. If I talk to some of the people some people in organizations who are much more technically focused, they'll be talking, Barbara, about the things that you're saying, about using tools like NAN to build complex workflows and doing things like agentic retrieval augmented generation, and those types of interesting things, which are kind of much more kind of pushing the envelope of what we've perceived as AI. So do you find that when you're engaging with customers, there's an education piece to help understand just exactly, I mean, Barbara, you said it, what's the goal and how does kind of AI help? But do you find that it's almost becoming so broad now that just using the term AI almost leads people down the wrong path because of their experience and their biases?
Welcome to your life. Absolutely. So it's quite painful, to be honest. And when we were preparing for the conversation, we decided to share one thing at least about this thing, is that it's so what we found is most of the people who are coming up with a new project idea, they are reading like LinkedIn headlines and listening the first 12 minutes of a podcast episode. But where it leads is that they are like coming in with absolutely unrealistic expectations. And like, let me give you an example. Like, for example, the fact that AI is cutting the costs dramatically. It is true and it is false at the same time. It is true, for example, for prototyping projects or completely like greenfield, like enterprise project where you start something from zero. But in case of like in case of like RFPs, like could you rewrite this 15-year-old legacy code system that was built by 200 engineers, 50 of them in India, 40 of them in Vietnam, 3 in America, and so on and so forth. And yeah, it's the results of a acquisition of 5 different companies that we merged together. And in these cases, it can optimize a bit, like 15%-ish thing, but it's not reducing the cost with 80%. And like sometimes it's quite annoying, like working on proposals for like long days. And then it turns out that the client's expectation was that, okay, why isn't it 80% cheaper as I read on LinkedIn? And yeah, there's a lot of education here, but I guess Barbara also has stories from the delivery part. That's also interesting.
I wanted to add that the landscape is changing. So 2 years ago, every client reached out to us to implement some kind of AI solution within his or her product. So they felt that the investors and the market want some AI features. And right now, the request that usually comes from our clients to use AI in the development process and become more productive. And they understand that it's not always necessary to have an AI feature in the product, but it's necessary to have a reliable agency who is using AI in their development workflows and can build up processes with agents to optimize the development process. And with the help of an agency like Bobcats Coding, they can go to the market first or earlier than any other competitors. It's great.
Yeah, it's a really critical distinction. It's a really critical distinction, and it just isn't widely accepted. People don't talk about it, or it gets lost in this blanket AI term. And so, for those of you watching on video, you'll probably see that the sun is slowly encroaching onto my arm. So I might have to stand up in a moment and just pull the blinds, but we'll keep going for a second. But it's a really important distinction, because I think whereas for many people AI is just ChatGPT, right? Or AI is now what they're seeing at the top of a Google search result, and that alone is pretty mind blowing. But actually, Barbara, to your point, that you've got your solution may not have anything to do with AI in it. However, your time to testing the idea in the market can be reduced significantly if you get the right people with the right mindset using AI tools to help with that process. And it may not be I don't know, maybe actually, maybe that's where you get the 80% improvements, isn't actually like the time it takes to reduce the cost of maintaining a code base, but actually your time to market.
I think people want to benefit from AI, but it's not always the way they first think they can benefit from it. So often our job is to explain them that there are different ways to benefit from the improvements in the field of AI.
So building on this, there was a podcast episode, I think it was one of Lenny's podcast episodes, and they were talking about the AI usage in organizations and how actually where people are seeing a huge amount of benefit is in the operational side of things. Which for me, as somebody that spent years studying business analysis methods and UML and the rest of it, I look at what people are doing with agentic workflows, and it just makes me feel very nostalgic. Because it reminds me of all the things that I was taught back at university 20-something years ago, where you had to draw these things. But now you can draw these things and it actually does the work for you. And I think that's just quite fucking mind-blowing that we're in a world where you can do this. But like with that, go on, Barbara.
Can I say a practical example from our companies?
Yes, please.
Like us? So, for example, from the sales marketing point of view, and this is my passion, so that's what I can talk about. So the output and the throughput that we can deliver now would be like 3 years ago. I give you the example. So what we do now is like we are coming out with research papers, we are organizing events on top of them, we do a lot of PPC ads to like have crowds in our events in the United States. And for example, how we were launching a new study or a new research papers 5 years ago. We collected the insights, we wrote it in Hungarian or like with our English. Then we had to employ a ghostwriter who rewrote everything. Then we had to, and we normally employ the local ghostwriter because that was cheaper. Then we send that copy to a British or UK, to a British or an American-based like lector who corrected it. Then it came back. We gave it to the graphic designer. So it was a 2 months process or 3 months process and costed like 5 times more money than how much it costs now. Because 8 out of the 10 steps could be done by AI. And we can focus on what we are good at is the content itself. And we don't have to like lose a lot of time with the rest.
And the same stands for software development. So we just to give you a practical example, we just finished a project for an American client. It was an MVP. And we finished the whole development process within 6 weeks. And the interesting part is that the client has a milestone after the first 3 weeks. He wanted to demo the application on a conference to show it to real potential users and just give them a chance to try it. And we were able to finish that development project within 3 weeks. To give a first version to the client, and he was able to successfully use it on a conference. And it was unimaginable, I don't know, 1.5 years ago.
Yeah. I remember years and years ago, a technique called RAD. It's called RAD, it's Rapid Application Development.
Yes.
You know, and this is where you had a coder sitting with a business person effectively, and they would sit together and they would develop the application there and then. You know, I wonder a lot of the techniques and things which people have spent decades trying to make work and have now been kind of thrown away almost. You know, a lot of those, particularly older agile ideas. You know, I think now's like I just wish that the uptick in agile was happening at the same time as the uptake in AI, because I think that now we can actually do a lot of the things which Agile asked us to do, which just weren't possible before. And I think it's such an amazing time to be in this industry. I'm grateful that I'm just on the cusp of being like not too old to actually still have a place in the industry, because I think it's really phenomenally exciting times.
Absolutely. exciting, and sometimes it's positively exciting. Sometimes it's like uh, sweaty, exciting. Like, okay, well, okay, great. It's like it's new technology and it's exciting, but what are we going to do now? Like, what should we do with the team? How should we like restructure proposals? How like
Yeah.
what's going to happen to the sales pipeline of the company? So it's yeah.
Different, yeah. For you guys, it's a different perspective to mine. I think it is scary. But I think having run my own business for 5.5 years or so, and when I think about how, particularly when we first started the podcast, there's a wonderful person who you wouldn't have met her. You'll meet her in Lisbon, a lady called Shireen who works with me. And when we first started all of this, the amount of effort we put into doing stuff and our throughput was low. And then as we really began to really make use of AI tools really early on, we found we were capable of so much more. I think that doing what you do, running an agency, looking at that pipeline, trying to predict those things, that kind of must be incredibly difficult. Do you find that you're able to do it on instinct or data or a mix? And how much does AI play a role in how you operate your organization and keep that sales pipeline there?
The sales marketing point, absolutely, but I guess I already told a few stories about that, and from the operation part as well. But it's more Barbara's cup of tea.
Yeah, it's since Bobcats Coding is a small organization, I think it's not shaping our everyday life that much. But if we speak about the development workflows and how we organize our work as a development agency when producing software, it's totally reshaped it. I cannot say that we revisited our processes, the old agile workflows, because we are in a continuous process improvement right now. Because speaking of the landscape of software development, there is a new tool, a new improvement every week. And what we are trying to do is to enhance knowledge sharing within the team. So if software developers are spending time on improving our processes and how we do the software development process every week. And our new CTO, Ryan, who was mentioned before, is also responsible for coming up a new how we call it, human in the loop, multi-agent workflow to support our clients. In practice, it means that we do really rapid 48 hours long sprints with the developers, and we follow a feature first approach. So basically, the developers are developing 2 or 3 features parallelly. And we are not spending much time on planning and going into the details, but we came up with 3 or 5 different options for a feature. We demo it to the client, and we decide how to move on. And this makes the whole development process more quick and more tangible in a way.
Come on, Bobby.
I can give you, like, while Barbara was talking, there is maybe one more interesting example for how to speed up like sales operations, if that makes sense. So what we do is like I connect like Crystal Knows, ChatGPT, and Notion AI when I have to like send a proposal. And back at the time, I had to like take all the notes, like you open everything, like write some like debrief to the client, and then go through all the like language checking process. And what we do now is that I call all the meeting notes from the AI note takers or from the Notion that I did. I download the new client's personality type from Crystal Knows. That's something that analyzes your personality from your LinkedIn and social media presence. And it gives.
So what's that called? Crystal Notes.
Crystal Knows.
Crystal knows, like knows.
Crystal Knows. You can Google it. Like
Crystal knows.
like knowledge, like I know.
Oh, okay, yeah, not nose like the thing on my face. The
No.
crystal nose, like okay, great, fantastic.
And so I take this personality profile, like add it as a prompt to ChatGPT, and then like I get the first draft of the proposal, upload that to Notion. Then Notion AI like give me some suggestions how to restructure it better for the Notion template that we are using. And then what I do manually is just a spreadsheet that time where we count them, where we do the math, and that's it. And like I don't say it's 10%, but I would say like it's 40% of the time than it was 2 years ago.
Fascinating. Okay, crystal nose. I haven't heard of this before, but it's
Yeah.
really interesting. I'm going to take a look at this.
It will feel uncomfortable and wonderful at the same time.
The best things are always the things that start off uncomfortable, I think. You know, but I don't know if you've found this in your organization, but have you found that by using generative AI and AI chatbots that it's have made you address anything about yourselves? Has it, I don't know, has it changed you both in any way, kind of interacting with this technology? Like, see, Barbara, you're definitely you're nodding your head. Barbara, has it changed you?
Yeah, of course. I think it totally reshaped how I approach a task on my list. Even the way I organize my tasks, I organize my emails, because all the regular tools we use have now AI features that makes it easier to use, makes it easier to prioritize, or makes it easier to create new documents, to summarize them. And I think it's just seamlessly integrate into the daily processes. I really like trying new tools, so I'm continuously just checking out the newest AI note taker and comparing it with the one that we are using. Yeah, it has some effects on the organization itself, but it's kind of shaping the way how I work. And in the last months, we had a trainee at Bobcats Coding. It was an internship, and she was working with mainly administrative and back office related stuffs. And back then at Green Fox Academy, I was responsible for leading a huge legal, finance, and administration team. So I had the chance to onboard new team members, even junior team members. And when we had this new intern at Bobcats Coding, who is only 20 years old, that was the first time when I felt the huge difference between her generation and my generation. And I mean
Really?
the way how we approach work. Because when she entered the labor market and finished her studies in a field, generative AI was already a thing. So from the first moment, she approached the labor market with a mindset where she's sure that she can use AI in her daily work. And her first thought is, how can I make it easier for myself to finish this task with the help of AI? And it was really, really inspiring for me as well.
Yeah, I'm glad you found it inspiring. So I think some people would find that fucking terrifying. You know, and swearing is allowed in the podcast, by the way. Although I did have a moment the other week where I was driving my son's friend home, and he was 9 years old, and he said, "Oh, I've been listening to your podcast, Ben." I'm like, "What? Why have you been listening to my podcast?" He's like, "Oh, because you sponsor our football team, so I thought I should listen. It's very good. I liked the episode you did." And I was like, "Oh, was there much swearing in that episode?" He's like, there was quite a lot of swearing, yes. I'm like, so Dylan, if you listen to this, mate, I'm sorry if I swore then, but thank you for listening, Dylan. I appreciate your listenership. Barbara, I know we're running out of time. There's a few questions I really want to ask. Barbara, there's something you were saying there about bringing in this young person with a totally different mindset, this kind of almost an AI native, AI first style mindset, which is huge. Do you think that organizations that want to make the most of AI in their customer-facing products will be hindered. It will be less successful unless they can embed that mindset culturally, like that young person AI native mindset culture in the organization. Like, does it, in order to really succeed, right, and really turn the dial on using AI as part of a solution or an AI solution, you need that AI first, AI native mindset throughout the organization to really kind of make the most of it.
Yes. like like Toyash, I guess Toyash finished his last presentation at Productize saying that like it's not AI going to take our jobs, but it's some experts in my field who uses AI for doing the job. So I guess it's a no-brainer. Absolute yes.
I think it's inevitable. I think organizations who are not starting to adopt to this new technology and how it's shaping even the work culture will not succeed anymore.
I give you a different angle. So from our business is that like I often have to talk at conferences, and always there is a lawyer somewhere in the audience standing up and asking, but what about the ethical aspect of AI? And like, what about the EU Act and things like that?
Yeah.
And from the practice, we can say that American companies who we are like 95% working for, they couldn't care less. China couldn't care less. And like, maybe somewhere in Germany they are going to think about like, is it like legally or data protection wise okay to use this? While the big markets is like it's not among their top 1,000 problems.
I was going to ask about the EU Act because I've been having some interesting conversations recently. And one thing I find interesting is that a lot of when it comes to AI policies or the EU Act, and people put out they put lots of questions about it. And actually, there's something I was going to bring up earlier, and Barbara, there's something you were saying, is that there seems to be this confusion almost in organizations between AI solutions and solutions which use AI. And so then they're saying, oh, well, we need to do all of this because it's got AI. So, but you've been using tools very, very similar to this for years, and you haven't been through all of this. And now they're using AI. So are they in scope for this because they're AI's products, or because they're products that use AI? Like, there's the distinction between AI solutions and solutions that use AI that is so blurred as to be insignificant. And I think that the rules that people are trying to apply to AI are probably some of the things they should have been thinking about when they're using any kind of SaaS app online historically. And in the UK, we've had such strict legislation around data protection, and now we have GDPR, that I think actually a lot of the stuff that's coming up isn't like, it's no great shakes, because you look at it, like, well, fair enough, like we're compliant with that, so we'll just carry on. There's no massive leap. That wasn't a question, that was just me ranting on a little bit, but I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. But once I've been to a very thoughtful like panel discussion about how legislation will be able to control or not control this revolution going on. And there was a very smart, like, I guess almost 70-year-old like lawyer guy sitting in the panel discussion saying that what we should understand is that the framework of legislation was created to like make rules for things that we know. And that's why it's very hard to like apply it for technology where we like it's changing week by week. So it's impossible to follow this with something such robust as like EU legislation. So yeah.
But I could spend an hour talking about policies and legislation in regards to this, but our time is nearly up. And I know that you are both extraordinarily busy, like successful owners of businesses. Running Bobcats code, so I don't want to keep you but too much beyond our allotted time, because I guess you got somewhere important to go, and I know that Ryan is going to be wanting to kind of see you because he's just come in the office. So I'll park my questions until we meet up again in person, and we'll bring this episode to a close. But it's been really fascinating. I feel like we've just kind of scratched the surface of the depth of conversation we could be having. But we are, Barbie, I'll be seeing you in Lisbon. That's correct, isn't it? and lots of other people. We're going to be Bobcats going to be front and center on all the product agility episodes that are going to be coming out, which will be wonderful. Have my new co-host, so announcing a big news. I'm getting a co-host who is my one of my longest and most cherished friends. That awful term, I think people used to say we were work husband and wife. Her name is Saloni, founder of a company called Our Future AI World. And I'll send you the link to that, as I mentioned. And she's going to be joining us as well. So it's going to be an awesome series of episodes. Before we do wrap up the episode, though, we're going to be at Productize. There'll be lots of fantastic speakers. And we're going to be interviewing every single one of them and co-interviewing them. And there's going to be some really fantastic, like hugely insightful conversations about AI and other things. So we'll see lots of listeners there. Barbie, your position, is there anything you would like to share with our listeners before we wrap up today?
Well, it's hard to pick one, but I'm also super excited about meeting you all with Productize and talking to all the speakers. And yeah, like maybe like to wrap it up is that like we are in this AI revolution together, and I wish for all of us to be able to keep our like childlike minds in this thing and like focus on the playfulness of this period instead of the crisis or the economical like issues that it's going to cause. So we have exciting times ahead, and I like to play in these times. And I hope we will all survive. So see you in Lisbon.
Barbara, anything from you?
Yeah, and for the ones who are not able to participate the Productized conference and meet you at Lisbon, I just wanted to mention that we have a great AI library at our website, bobcatscoding.com, and you should definitely check out a few white papers there, listen to podcasts, and last but not least, try a lot of new AI tools, play with them, and see what they can give you on a daily basis. That's it. Thank you.
We are not yet sponsoring any football teams, but we will try. So.
Well, if you want to sponsor one of my local teams, they are always up for sponsorship. You know, they're great little teams down here in Surrey, Farncombe FC, all the way. No, I'd love to see your logo on one of our tops, but my Product Agility podcast does look pretty good on their shirts. But I love that. I think playing with these tools is such an important thing that we need to do. And I think that the best thing to do, I've always found when I'm anxious about any of these things, is just tell myself it's good. Just tell myself it's good and just carry on. So yes, I can't wait to meet you in person, and Barbara, lovely to meet you virtually. Everyone, thank you very much for listening. As I said, this is we're back. Things are going to be bigger and better than they ever were before on the podcast, and it's awesome to start off with you guys. So everyone, thank you for listening. Barbara and Bobby, thank you very much for coming along, and we'll see you all at Productize.
See you. Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Bye.